Hey, this is Jim Boyce, and you're listening to Irritable Dad Syndrome with Mike and Doreen.
It's Darren.
Mike and Darius.
It's Darren.
Mike and Darfin.
Son of a...
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. The quality remains long after the name is forgotten. Now, here are your hosts, Mike and Darren.
Hello, and welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. I am Darren.
I am Mike.
This is episode 27.
27.
I don't speak Mexican, so I don't know what you're saying there, but
Yeah.
aloha. Aloha
as well.
to you.
Hey,
Very happy to be here. How are you?
me?
Yeah,
I'm great.
yeah,
I'm
good.
actually in a good mood.
Good.
Because I got a lot of sleep last night.
I did not.
Last week,
Uh-huh.
I didn't have that much sleep before the show.
Right.
And then I had an extremely hectic day. And I don't know if you remember this, but I was sitting there eating the Popeyes chicken
Uh-huh.
as you came in.
That's right.
It was just, I was back behind the 8 ball
Mm-hmm.
the entire time. But boy, did I pay for it. Because I had to sit in ye old editing booth for you've seen Inception. You know how when they go down to the
I have seen Inception.
when they go down to the third level,
Yeah.
and it's like you could spend 80 years there, but it's
Mhm.
like an hour. That's what I felt like, a cross between that, kind of like that, or Interstellar, when they
Right.
fly too close and they come back and the guy's got like gray hair and it's only been an hour for them. Somewhere between
Right.
those two metaphors is what editing last week's show was like.
Well, this is hilarious because what a lot of people don't realize is, I work in television. Mike's
Yeah.
an engineer. I don't know what he does, but I work in television.
Well, let's
I've worked
clarify, not the type of engineer that would know how to do this stuff.
Exactly. No, Mike is an engineer. I've worked in television since 1993, and I have edited 1,017,806 audio projects. And Mike, when we decided to do this podcast, said, "You know what? I'm going to edit." I'm like, "Go ahead, knock yourself out."
Yeah.
And because I would have done the same thing, but it's so cute hearing you complain about this took me 3 hours. I'm like, that's what editing audio is all about.
It doesn't.
It's all part of it, Mike. You're earning your editing wings, man.
Yeah.
You're totally earning it.
So one of these days, not this episode, because, well, maybe, I want to go back. There was a point when I was originally throwing the idea of the podcast to you.
Right.
I texted it to you, and you ignored me for about a week. And in that week,
Every time you tell this story, the time goes up through. Yeah, I ignored you for 6 months before I said a very excited, sure.
In that week, I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a podcast anyway, whether or not he comes along.
Right.
And I was like, how hard could it be to do a single person podcast? There is a recording on one of these computers of me sitting out on the deck because I thought, like an idiot,
Right.
that it'll be quiet out on the deck.
No.
That's what a dad thinks. A dad with two kids trying to jumping around and destroying things, and a dog thinks it'll be quiet out on
Right.
the deck. It ain't quiet out on the deck.
It's not quiet
And
outside.
I was describing a squirrel that didn't exist. So focus. I was outside.
Can we put this on? Can we put this on an episode of this podcast?
We can.
What
I
Irritable
wanna play
Dad
it.
Syndrome could have been?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
I want to get that sound from Wayne's World. where
Mike
he
talks
goes,
about a squirrel. Hey, kids, look, he's holding a nut.
Yeah. And
So?
I was gonna do it.
What a
from my-
tale.
I was gonna do it from my car during
Uh-huh.
the lunch break, which cracks me up now thinking about it. Welcome to
Mike talks about squirrels.
Yeah, welcome to All By Myself, episode 3. I'm fatter than I was last week. Not drunk this time.
Can't get the damn seatbelt locked. Oh,
yeah.
there you go. Oh, crap. I got Cheetos in my crotch.
So I was.
I really want to hear this episode. With you talking about the imaginary squirrel.
I'm already our podcast has gotten to the level where I could be nostalgic for the beginning of it. And every once in a while, I don't know if you do this, I go back to the Buzzsprouts or the Spotify's and I look back at the old episode titles, the Robo Killer, Robo embezzlement with the thing, and I just I went through some old notes. There are some good ones in there. I poo-poo the earlier podcasts quite a bit on these recent ones, and I think it's because I've gotten this new.
We're
setup.
growing.
I'm so excited
We're
with
growing.
the new setup.
Yeah,
but there's some funny crap back in the day. So
I thought so.
So today, someone downloaded episode 1. Again,
Okay.
And it's the first time since that episode that I didn't cringe.
You know what I'm going to equate it to?
What?
And I'm actually going to compare ourselves to
Okay.
Seinfeld. You ever watch the first episode of Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Horrible. It was horrible. But it's actually fun to watch it. You're like, oh my God, their show got, by comparison, so much better.
Oh, yeah.
Our show hasn't got that much better. It's gotten better, not that much better.
But you could see there's moments of brilliance that shine through, usually by accident.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we're starting to get okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Well, now that we've patted ourselves on the back enough, we want to welcome you to the to our most recent episode here. And I just wanted to say that, we record this show in advance. We record it on a Tuesday. And are you okay over there?
I'm trying to avoid it.
Your lung is on the floor.
Yeah.
We record this show on a Tuesday, and then it drops the following Tuesday. So
for boomers, drops means it's available on
that's
the
right.
interwebs.
You can download it a week later when it's available. So we always tell people that because we mention things that are topical in the news or something that happened on a current day.
Yeah.
But now I wanted to mention something because I'll be a dead man if I don't mention this.
Okay.
We're recording this episode now.
Yeah.
The day that it drops, the day that it's available for download, is going to be my 19th wedding anniversary.
March 1st.
March 2nd.
March 2nd.
March 2nd is the Tuesday. Okay. So I just want to say, happy anniversary to my wife, Libby. Yeah. Best thing that could possibly ever happen to me. I know I pick on her a lot in my comedy routine. I mention her a lot in this podcast and how, but she's awesome. And if you don't mind, I want to tell a story about why my wife is such a kick-ass wife.
Go for it.
Many years ago, we went to see the Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Okay. Now, my wife is a just absolute diehard Lord of the Rings fan. She read all the books. She could not wait. She was on the edge of her seat. Yeah. Could not wait for these movies to come out. And we watched the first one. She had to explain it all to me over 2 or 3 different viewings because I didn't get it. I could appreciate it. I wasn't understanding it.
Yeah.
She finally explained it all, and then I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So by the time the second one comes out, we are stoked out of our minds to see this movie. Well, we're sitting there in the seat, and behind us is a woman and her 3 kids, and the kids won't stop talking. They won't stop yapping.
Yeah.
They just won't stop. And so, Libby and I both do the sigh. And then Libby shoots them the look, the look like, why do you have your feet on the coffee table? Look. Aren't you going to use a coaster? Look. The, oh no, you didn't say that in my house. Look. That look. That doesn't work either. The kids won't stop talking. Finally, Libby turns around and she looks at them and she says, you people are killing me. You're killing me.
You people.
Yeah. Scares the mom to death. Scares the kids to death. And the kids are like, Mommy, shh.
Yeah.
The mom had her arm across the kids.
I would be scared if Libby did that to me.
You know how like when you stop, you have to stop super fast. You got your arm on the kids so they don't fly through even though they're wearing a seatbelt. Yeah, that was the mom doing. Mom was like, oh God, this woman is seriously going to kill us.
She's going to cut you.
But I thought that was totally awesome. You people are killing me. Anyway, Libby. Happy anniversary. I love you very much. Thank you for Tuesday nights. Thank you for letting me come and spend it with this guy. And she keeps waiting for us to become more popular and start making some money.
Well, I want to add something to that, if I may.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday is March 2nd, so you're correct.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for adding to that. I wanted to tell everybody that tonight is a special night also. 3 or 4 weeks ago, my just stop for the night was about Mountain Dew and how they keep changing and adding new products and they don't need to do that. And I thought, you know what? I got to stop being such an old man. And I bought 2 bottles of Mountain Dew Major Melon, and Mike and I are going to sample them. We're going to drink them through the episode and see.
Are we?
Yeah, let's go ahead and open them now.
I'm so glad that you did this because there's been so many times I've come really close to buying this.
Yeah, I'm going to say right off the bat, it doesn't smell good. But here goes.
Oh, that smells like a rind. Okay.
Well, it definitely tastes like it tastes like watermelon.
You know what it tastes like?
What's that?
Where I'm from, Mountain Dew flows like honey.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm from Tennessee. We drank Mountain Dew for breakfast.
And people smoke a lot. And we used to have those old-fashioned big glass ashtrays that you could fit about 3 cartons of Pall Malls in.
Yeah.
invariably you'd see one where somebody had dumped a Mountain Dew in there to make putting out the cigarettes easier. This tastes like what I think that would have tasted like.
This tastes like you're drinking a flat Mountain Dew that someone had dumped a week's worth of smokes in.
Just a touch of ash, as it were.
It's got a funky aftertaste too,
or a touch of ass. One of those two.
God,
it's. Well, watermelon really doesn't have that much flavor, and yet it does. Yeah, it's like
it says it's charged with watermelon. It's not charged. It's good. I don't know.
It's like a.
God, I wish I hadn't have bought this. Could someone give me a regular Mountain Dew? Okay, hopefully one of your kids heard me and will run down. So, anyway,
it's like a carbonated armpit. But so I'm not complaining.
Anyway, I'm going to stand by my statement that I made 3 or 4 weeks ago that Mountain Dew need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
So, hey, listen, in March.
By the way, if you're listening to this and the levels went all wacky there for the past few minutes, don't adjust your listening device.
Don't adjust your dial.
That was me, Captain Dumb, breaking rule number 1 of podcasting. Don't play with the levels in the middle of the podcast. Right. Just adjust them after the fact. I got all knob happy. That's what she said on the podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast.
On the podcast.
Pod.
Whatever.
Yes.
But I think people know what we're talking about.
Yes.
Anyway, so fans of the show, hey, you know what? This month, February of 2021 has been our most successful month.
It has. I wasn't going to go there yet, but you did.
Oh, no,
we have. Is it on the thing?
Is it on the thing with the stuff? Check it out.
Oh, it is.
We've had more downloads this month than any other month that our podcast has been on,
including the first month, which is the friends and family feel obligated to listen because Darin's going to look at you
because we wouldn't stop begging. Now you don't have to bring up that I'm cross-eyed.
I didn't. That's not what I meant. Oh, there it was.
There it went. For you people on the Twitch.
Yeah.
But so we thank you, fans, and we're doing something exciting in March. Yeah. On March 13th, we are going to record a crossover episode, and I mentioned this last week. There's a podcast called Textual Tension. It stars Margie and Rachel, and they talk about dirty, smutty romance novels. Yeah. The show has nothing in common at all with our podcast. We've been invited to be a guest on their show.
Okay.
And we're going to have them as guests on our show.
Can I ask you a question? What are we expected to do on their show?
I have no clue. This is kind of like the, we're the boys up in the treehouse, and we finally let a couple of girls come up into the treehouse. And the girls are going to be yucky with their cooties and their girl germs, and they're going to want to talk about nail polish. And I don't know. But you and I are going to be... who knows what we're going to do, but it'll be exciting. It'll be fun. I think it'll be really fun.
Well, as long as it's exciting and fun.
It'll be exciting and fun.
All in.
So that's coming up in the middle of March.
So, okay.
No, but you were mentioning when we first got on here that last week's show was awful.
It did.
Our last episode was horrible. Mike and I blame you. You blame me.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Are we going to keep fighting about it, or are we just going to carry on?
I think we're just going to keep going on.
We've got to keep on keeping on,
Mike. The Lord for editing. Because one of these days, we're going to throw back a few beers, just you and me, and I want to play the raw feed of last week's. I want to wait until we get a bit more successful because I don't want you to look at me and say, we're done.
I remember the episode.
It was rough.
I remember calling you on the way home, cut out that part where I said this, that, well, and that. Not that it was offensive, or that it was unfunny. It was just, it was unfunny.
Well, here's what's sad is that you wanted me to cut the droid thing.
Yeah, good concept.
A great concept. It went nowhere.
Poorly.
And the funny thing about it is that in the midst of that, one of our clips, actually the clip that we used to promote this episode, that you did a callback to the Valentine's dinner. That was sequestered around in that droid thing, if I remember correctly. I surgically removed that. If you listen closely, you can hear me guffawing or whatever, and I suddenly changed pitch.
Right.
That's because it flipped to a different thing.
Whatever.
But it was the reason I was so keen to hear what I can't believe I just used keen in a sentence. Good God.
Wow, Mr. Wilson.
It was swell.
That's super nifty.
I wanted to hear what you thought about it because I thought we're going to sound like like the Stephen Hawking voice thing, like, thank you for listening to our podcast.
We're so happy to have you on our show, Chris Michael.
Yeah. It was that rough.
But anyway, I think one of the reasons why our show sucked so hard last week was
golf ball through a garden hose, folks.
Exactly. It was awful. It was awful. But by all means, download it and listen to it. Because we get money for every download. Nothing.
And by money, you mean nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Here's the thing, and we've mentioned this many, many, many times on the show, is Mike and I both have a tendency of running into crazy people when we go to the grocery store.
Yeah.
I do, especially. My wife doesn't believe me. She's like, there's no way you keep running into these people.
That's what Beth says.
Well, last week and the week before, nothing had happened. Just like nothing. And I think I let it get to me.
Okay.
Well, this week, something phenomenal happened at the grocery store. I met a woman in the produce department. So I go to Kroger. And by the way, Kroger are not a sponsor of this podcast, although they should be, because we mentioned them in all 27 episodes of this podcast.
Mm-hmm. We could call this the Kroger podcast.
The Kroger podcast, yeah. So I'm in Kroger. I'm in the produce section, and I'm walking by, and there's a woman, and she's desperately trying to open up a plastic bag. She cannot open it. And I've been there 1,000 times. Yep. And I'm convinced that they have the cameras, the security cameras, that they record people doing the opening the bags. Yeah. And they're laughing at us. And it's like a show. They air it in Taiwan or Peru or something. And Americans are crazy with plastic bags. That's probably a more
I would watch that.
Probably
show.
a catchier title than that. But I told her, I said, those bags are bitched open, aren't they? She goes, yes, they are, because I talk to strangers.
Yeah.
And I told her my theory that we're being recorded, and she's laughing. And she says, well, before we all had the masks, you could just lick your fingers and open the bag, but now you can't take the mask off. And she says, you got to get your fingers wet somehow. And I got an idea. She says, I'm going to touch the beets. So she puts her hands on the wet beets. Okay. And then she opens up the bag. And she says, see, it worked. And then she looks at me and she goes, you want to touch my beets?
Oh, Lord.
And I'm thinking, no, but you just titled my next podcast. No. So, and then she clarifies, she says, and just so you know, I'm not touching all the beets and leaving them there.
No, she's a one beet lady.
She's a beet. She bought the beets. Okay. But so I couldn't drive home fast enough to tell my wife, you want to touch my beets? So
was there a twinkle in her eye? Did she know what she had said, or was she?
It was almost as if she was a cast member on our podcast.
Okay,
like if we had a third chair, she'd be the beat lady.
Okay,
and she was just like she couldn't get enough. And I know she went home and told her husband. So I asked this guy if he wanted to touch my beets, and he's like, "You did what?" Yeah. Anyway.
So, folks, if you're ever running a podcast and you have a story about a lady asking you to touch her beets, and you say she sounded like she could be a part of our podcast, you're doing well.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
So I left the produce department and I'm walking by.
Running okay.
No. I finished getting my carrots and celery and
I'm getting, because I was just at Kroger, believe it or not, I was just at Kroger like an hour or so ago getting the box of wine.
Yeah, you love boxed wine now. You're hooked on boxed wine. That's my new thing.
Yeah. It's a West Virginia thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna have a discussion about West Virginia here in a little bit.
Okay.
A little later in the show.
I've been to West Virginia. I've been to Beckley and I've been to Bluefield, West Virginia.
That's hard. Those are hardcore West Virginia. You weren't screwing around.
No. You survive a night in Bluefield.
It's like
you get stripes, my friend.
I've been to Texas, Houston, or I've been to Texas, the house where the Texas Chainsaw Massacre took place.
Right.
You went to the Chainsaw Massacre
and I survived.
Of West Virginia. Wow.
I survived.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
they kill you down there. Go ahead.
Yeah. You don't mess with them in Bluefield. So I left the produce department and I'm walking by, and I don't know about you and I shop at the same Kroger, but I don't know about everyone else with Krogers around the world. But this particular Kroger has a bar.
Oh,
a bar. You can go and you can sit. Oh, it's pathetic. You can sit and you can order wine and beer, and there's a bartender who stands there like Sam Malone, and he's always wiping glasses.
Yeah, the name of this bar is Why.
Why are you here?
What was it about your shopping trip that caused you to suddenly need a beer?
But here's the thing. It's like these people are sitting there, and I'm like, am I missing something? Because they seem to be having the time of their life.
No
and there's
sense of irony.
a guitarist. They hired a guy to stand there and sit there and play music for ambiance.
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, there's frozen shrimp over there.
Yeah.
And then there's the cookies and the bakery here.
You're 10 feet away from cheese.
Yeah. How is there and like ground hamburger? It's like, why is there ambiance here? And the guy's just sitting there playing Jimmy Buffett and Jim Croce and Cat Stevens and whatever else,
Bess and I went to that, and it was like there's no sense of irony. We went to just see what it was like, because you want to be able to tell people, I went to a bar inside of Kroger. And we each had a beer. And we looked around and it was like, it felt like getting a beer at 9 a.m. It's like, it's just wrong.
I mean,
you've messed up somewhere in your life.
I mean, when you pull into a regular bar, you're pulling and parking next to people who are going into a bar.
Yeah.
When you're going to the bar at Kroger, you're parking next to people who are going in for diapers.
Yeah. But I remember seeing, because this was when it was relatively new. And I remember seeing a couple, and the lady was pushing the cart, and the guy was walking, and he had gotten a glass of wine from the bar, and he was walking with one arm behind his back and the other holding the wine like this in front of the cart in Kroger. And it was everything I had in me to not just say, F you. What are you?
You're
what
sitting
are you
there
doing?
acting like you're on a wine tour.
You're in the Louvre, walking around with your wine
like this.
Let's go get some Pop-Tarts and check out the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, you and Paul Giamatti are going shop to shop sniffing, and that's a Merlot, and I am not drinking Merlot. Yeah. I don't know.
He had a Steve Jobs. I remember. I can see him now. He had a Steve Jobs turtleneck.
Oh. You just want to punch him right in the throat.
But me and Bess were just, it was hard to finish our beers because we were laughing so much about the fact that we were in Kroger. We took pictures, selfies, and people, there were a few looks like, what are you doing taking selfies? And I wanted to say, what are you doing drinking a beer in a Kroger?
Why are you drinking beer in a grocery
legitimately store? But recently, I'm so interested in this topic because recently, just a few days ago, I go to Kroger almost every day. In a 7-day week, which most weeks are.
I'm in there more than a couple times a week.
I go at least 3 to 4 times a week. And I'm exaggerating. I actually go 5 to 6 times a week. I stop and get something almost every day.
Right.
One of the times I went there just this past week, I saw people that looked like they had just gotten off of work. It looked like Cheers. Like,
no. Norm!
Yeah, they're just like leaning up on the bar, hunched over the little bowl of pretzels that they got from aisle 3. And I was just like, what is wrong with you people?
I know.
Go to a real bar.
I mean, can you imagine? Okay, you're going to the bar at Kroger and you just get hammered. And you're like, you know what? And you get a cart and you go and you buy 40 pounds of shrimp. And you start flirting with the ladies in the floral department. And then you go and, I don't know, you go down to the dish soap aisle and you rearrange everything by colors of the rainbow. And it looks better that way. Don't tell me I'm on all 4. Clean up on all 4. Woo! You take off your pants. I mean, you're in a grocery store.
I think you just identified the first Irritable Dad Syndrome outing.
Me and
you need to get either Bess or Libby to film this thing, and we go to the Kroger bar and get schnackered.
Yeah, just get. I thought it was schnockered, but you're from a different part of town, so. But yeah, I just don't get it, and and sometimes they have wine tastings. Ooh. You're in a Kroger.
You're a Kroger.
You're right across from where some lady who's 72 years old will make a birthday cake for your son Trevor. I mean, I don't get it. I just don't get it. But and then one more thing that really made me chuckle.
Okay.
After I was done mocking all the people at the bar, I went and my wife wanted me to pick up some granola bars for her. And I'm trying to find the right one because God forbid you bring the wrong ones home. And I'm looking at all these granola bars.
Happy anniversary, Libby.
Happy anniversary. I love you, sweetie.
Yeah.
I see these granola bars. And one of them has like the little starburst in the corner. Something that says new great flavor. This one says bursting with nuts. On I don't want to put anything that's bursting in my mouth.
Yeah.
It's like you bite into it, your ears pop. Oh, jeez, God, this bursting with nuts.
The only thing that was bursting with nuts was that European underwear I told you about a couple episodes ago. I couldn't sit right on the plane.
But I'm like, there was a meeting, okay? They were like, we need to find a way to get more people to buy these granola bars. What do you think, Mike?
Well, what if we put a little thing in the upper right corner that says it's bursting with nuts?
Yes, you're a genius.
Or packed with peckers.
Yeah.
Doused with...
Yes, exactly. Oh, my God. But anyway, so I was so happy when I left Kroger because I'm like, I now have enough content for another week's worth of this podcast that so consumes my life now.
So you mentioned Bluefield and Beckley.
Yeah.
All right. So I think everybody knows I'm from a smallish town known as Proctorville, affectionately known as Proctor Vegas.
Proctor Vegas.
Okay. So Proctor Vegas, just to give you guys a taste of this town. When I was growing up, we had, I think, one stoplight. The town, we got a bridge that connected us to West Virginia over to Huntington.
Right.
The town shut down for a day to let people walk back and forth across the bridge. When we got our first McDonald's, that was...
Sarah, get your coat. We're walking across the bridge.
When we got our first McDonald's, I mean, it was like, I can't remember if there was a parade or not. But anyway.
This sounds like my hometown. Well, I was born in Indiana, but I was raised in a very, very, very small town in Virginia before we moved to Tennessee. But Belfast, Virginia.
Yeah. So my family is from Colwood. My dad is from Colwood. And my mom is from Welch.
Okay.
Which is right next to Beckley.
Okay.
And to them...
I've heard of Welch.
To them, Proctorville was like Proctor Vegas. So when you just said
you're going
you went
into
to Beckley,
town.
I used to live in Bluefield, but I was a baby at the time. So I was still using dip, not actual cigarettes.
Oh no, please.
No, I didn't.
Oh, because I was about to say, please tell me you never dipped.
I did dip, but that's a different story. We'll save that for a different episode.
Okay.
It was. I had to. Had to save my life.
You had a gun to your head. Yeah.
So the reason I told you I wanted to tell some small town stories, and just a couple.
Yeah.
I wanted to paint that picture. I also wanted to paint the picture of. So we live. I just tell people I live in Cincinnati. Here, you say Liberty Township or you say Westchester.
We live in Westchester.
When you're talking to somebody, talking to somebody else, it's like Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Oh, that chili. You have to have that whole stupid conversation.
God. Yeah.
But anyway,
isn't Jerry Springer from there? Yes.
Yeah. So my and Bess's travels through life, we both, came from relatively small areas. Hers was bigger than mine.
Hello.
Ouch. And then we both moved together to Dayton. And then from Dayton to Cincinnati. So Dayton's like a starter city.
Right.
Okay.
It's the warm-up act.
It's kind of family-oriented, but you could start to get shot.
Yeah, I worked in Dayton.
And then
longest year and a half of my life.
And then you go to Cincinnati. Yeah. So I always thought that, well, let me put it to you this way.
Okay.
Living here, I have sped and done stupid things in front of cops so many times, I've lost count. Mm-hmm. I am the king
We are not encouraging breaking the law.
No, absolutely not. Don't do that. But I am the king of, I'm going 40 something and it's 25 and, oh, there's a cop. I better slow down as they're fading in the mirror.
Right.
Now in Proctor Vegas, you better be slowed about a mile away from the cop before you come because they're just sitting there waiting. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, it happens.
They've got nothing else to do.
Well, there were a lot of complaints because last week power went out and a lot of people lost power. A lot of people needed help. And people were complaining on Facebook that the cops were just still sitting out there at their speed traps instead of helping people get food and water and that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I was driving. One of the times I went home, there's a highway that goes right into.
Now, did you call it the highway or the 4-lane?
No, because it's not 4-lane.
Oh, okay. Because where I grew up, we called it the 4-lane.
Well, it's one of those 55 highways. Here everything is like 65 or 80 if you got some balls. But this was like 55, and it goes down into a road that's 25, and that road goes right into Chesapeake. Okay. Mm-hmm. The 25 mile an hour sign is just after the off-ramp of the highway. You're going 55. Mm-hmm. You start slowing down, you ease down to a 20. You're not near anything, okay? There was a cop sitting there. I passed by the 25 mile an hour sign, and I can't remember how fast I go. I think I was going like 35 or 40.
Right.
Pulled over. Mm-hmm. Okay. $188 ticket.
Dang.
And he took my license.
10 miles over the speed limit. He takes your license.
He took my license.
Damn.
And he said it was because they needed to make sure that I was going to come back and pay my ticket. I had the same internal reaction that you just had. I wanted to laugh in the dude's face, but I was actually sitting there thinking,
how am I supposed to come back if you've got my license?
I'm in one of those weird stories where if I say the wrong thing, he's going to shoot me in my stupid face.
Roscoe and Enos,
in the middle of the night.
Roscoe and Enos do not have a sense of humor in those small towns.
So, of course, I posted on the interwebs, is it okay for cops to take your license? And, I love posting questions on the internet.
Oh, because every
once in a while,
all the experts come out of the woodwork.
Dwight Schrute will get on there
yes.
and say, and absolutely not, blah, 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 this stuff. But yeah, I had to go the next day and I had to pay that ticket. And, they told me I need to make sure that I'm going slow. So the next time I went, I wanted to show my family how ridiculous this was because the first time I was by myself. We're driving and I slowed down to the speed limit where you're supposed to. And we're on a road with no one around us, no traffic anywhere, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And Bess is like, what are you doing? I'm like, you got to do this or they will get you out here.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts.
Yeah.
That story wasn't as good when I said it, but as I thought it was going to be.
Well, no, but you are right.
I always thought, growing up, I thought in the city, they'll get, it's crazy.
Right.
It's the opposite. In the city, as long as you're not actively murdering somebody,
right,
or going and not 80 in a 35, they got bigger fish to fry. They'll just, we got to get one this hour. The guy over there with the flames coming out of the back, let's pull him over.
Now, when I lived in Johnson City, much bigger town than Proctor, Vegas, a friend of mine, a girl.
Yeah,
she and I we did not date. We did not have any type of. She was just a friend of mine. Actually, she dated a good friend of mine, and he had went off to the Marines, and she and I were hanging around together. Anyway, so there was down the street from where I lived. There was an apartment complex.
Okay,
and a friend of mine. Did he used to live there? Doesn't matter. They had a pool. Okay. They never closed their automatic gate. All you got to do is pull up. You didn't have to punch in the code. The gate opened up. And I was like, hey, it's 10 o'clock at night. Let's go swimming. She says, okay. So she got her swimsuit and we drove up to this pool to swim. And we're having a great time, whatever. Well, everything's great until the popo shows up. And I go over and I'm nice to the police officer. I said, good evening. How are you today? And he says, you guys live here? I said, no, sir, we don't. A friend of mine used to live here, and we would come and swim with him. And I looked at him and I said, I'm not supposed to be here, am I? And I said, we should probably go. And he goes, yeah, you should. And I was like, okay. And he says, how's the water? And I said, no, it's great. He goes, you go ahead and you can swim for another half hour or so. Well, the security guard behind him, he was the guy who called the cops on us, had a stick. He said there, he had the Barney Fife look on his face. We're gonna bring him in and we're gonna rough him up and tumble him around and he's gonna learn a lesson. He was the cop with the gun and the badge.
He was fine with it.
Fine. Security guard was gonna clock me over the head and teach me a lesson in front of my friend Anna.
You can't have that.
No, that's bad. That is bad. Well, listen. Speaking of police, it was last week. I was at Kroger and I bought
I'm looking at the next thing and I'm like, okay.
I bought a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Okay. Because I was getting cereal for the kids and I think one of them asked for it, whatever. Okay. I forgot how addictive Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal is.
We're weaning the kids off of it right now.
Oh my God. I hadn't had it in years.
And they have like 50 variations of it. They got like the super giant size, the giant size, the family size,
we got the Marines are coming and the marching band size box. And the other morning I had a box and then I went and I got some more and Libby's like, hey, you're having 2 bowls of cereal, aren't you? I'm like, don't judge me. Don't look at me. Anyway, so I commented on my Facebook page that someone put pure crack cocaine in this cereal because it's addictive. Ha ha, big funny joke. Well, somebody comments on my page that in Cincinnati, there was a shipment.
Oh, no.
Here it is. U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents in Cincinnati intercepted a shipment of 44 pounds of cocaine-coated Corn Flakes with a street value of $2.8 million.
My God.
So I made a joke.
Yeah.
And then, like, the next day, someone's actually coating cereal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you you coated Corn Flakes?
I'm just imagining Tony the Tiger saying, "Say hello to my little friend."
They're fight me.
Oh, geez.
But anyway, that was really crazy that happened like the day after or 2 days after I had said that about the cinnamon toast crunch.
So Stump Woodley, by the way,
Yeah.
I want to thank him for mentioning Dwight Schrute.
Yeah.
He said, "Is that volleyball Anna?"
Volleyball.
Annie.
No.
No.
That's a different Anna. That's a different podcast.
Okay.
I've mentioned
Should we save that for Textual Tension? Is that what you're saying?
Sure.
Okay.
No, I mentioned this other girl, Anna. Remember I told you about the girl who was at the cookout and she's barefoot and she's kicking the volleyball until she kicked her toenail off.
That's right.
Off.
Yeah.
The ball was covered in blood.
Yeah.
And someone's like, "Can someone take the ball away from Anna, please?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, different Anna. Stop.
Okay.
Different Anna. Oh goodness. So Mike and I are both big Marvel fans.
Oh, good
We're
God.
we're shifting gears here. We're both big Marvel fans.
Yeah.
Now you still haven't watched WandaVision, have you?
No, I need to.
Okay, you need to. Well,
Yeah.
by the time you start, it's going to be
Over.
done, and you can binge watch it in a couple of days.
Yeah.
I've said before, the first 3 episodes I was not impressed with.
Yeah.
I'm like, when in the hell is something going to happen?
Yeah.
Finally, episode 4.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a Marvel show. Okay, and then it gets good. Well, coming soon is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh.
This looks badass.
It's like the
Cannot-
buddy cop. I kept
Yes.
getting Lethal Weapon
Yes.
trimmers.
They
they
do.
got that thing going on. And I don't know if you saw, there's been a couple of different teaser trailers, but the one that I've watched over and over is the one where at the end of it, the Winter Soldier gets knocked off the train, and then Falcon comes down and says, "You just got your ass kicked by that little girl just kicked your ass."
Yeah.
And it ends with them doing the staring contest with the lady saying, "Sweet Jesus, how old are you?"
Yeah. It's gonna be great. I cannot wait.
What I love about that is that I'm sure that I've been marketed to. I'm positive that Disney has
Tastes like medicine.
psychiatrists. I think they have like everybody that's anybody that knows anything. They've got Disney's head frozen somewhere, and they're still getting
Underneath. It's
things.
underneath Disneyland.
So I know that I've been marketed to. I
Right.
know that I've been manipulated to naturally want to see more of Falcon and want to see more of the Winter Soldier, when originally I didn't care about either one of those. But as I've watched these things over and over,
right.
the Falcon has always, because Falcon was the first one to talk to Captain America.
Yep.
Right when he's facing off on Thanos, on your left.
On your left,
Yep.
Captain.
And
And
then-
then the chills.
Oh.
The chills all up both arms.
dude! And then the
The
winter
tears coming outside your eyes, like, oh no.
And Winter Soldier is that guy in the last battle. It's still, he always sticks out to me because everybody else is shooting lasers from everywhere or swinging axes, and he's just walking around with a badass machine gun.
Yep.
Just taking people out.
Exactly.
And
Because he has the same powers as Captain America.
yeah, he wasn't that impressive like in
No.
because
he wasn't.
in the series. I don't know what it was. He's gotten some personality. Like
Yeah,
later
over
on.
time, you did grow to like him.
He brooded all the time in
Yeah.
the beginning, and now he's kind of he still broods, but he's got like a thing. He's like the Danny Glover
Well, no,
of this thing.
I like Danny Glover for the second he came on, but with Bucky,
I tell you what, if Winter Soldier is sitting on a toilet, or I'm sorry, if Winter Soldier is sitting on a toilet,
Right.
and Falcon has a bomb under it,
That's
and
awesome.
Falcon has to tackle him into a bathtub,
Yep.
I'm hooked.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is going to be really good. But Bucky is one of those characters.
I hate that name.
I know. You'd think of all the names they could have named him anything. Roger.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
I guess
That's why we're doing this podcast.
So if you
together.
ever look at the original Captain America comics, which
Okay.
I'm not some psycho that goes to the comic store because I don't want to get
Dude,
shot.
there's a lot of people who collect comics.
Yeah, but the original
Right.
Captain America stuff, I mean, you got to
Right.
be hardcore,
Yeah.
but you can get them online.
Mhm.
Bucky was like his little kid friend, which doesn't
Well,
fly.
that's what it
right
was
now.
like in the movie.
No.
In the first Avenger.
No, Bucky was his buddy, is his best friend.
Okay, but they
This
knew
was
each
his-
other when they were were in.
I'm talking Captain America is whatever he is, 25, 35-year-old Captain America.
Oh, I
and
gotcha.
Bucky's like a little 8-year-old blonde boy
Gotcha.
that he's got walking around. I mean,
Gotcha.
you remember the
That's-
Batman and Robin thing? People are like,
Yeah, what's going on there?
This is even worse. This is like Chris Hansen pops in the middle of the first
Doesn't
comic.
that child belong to somebody there, Captain America? Yeah.
But yeah, so in that name, Bucky fits the little, kid.
It does.
And Captain America's punching Hitler and doing all that stuff. And Bucky is like, golly gee, Captain America, what can I do next?
I'll tell you what we need to do is
and they
we
kept
need
the same name.
There's a guy I know named Rob Pugh who knows everything there is to know about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the Marvel comic series.
We gotta have him on.
We gotta get him on.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll agree to do it.
Yeah.
But he is on his Facebook page. He writes movie reviews, and he's like puts Siskel and Ebert to shame.
So why can't DC get it right?
I have no idea,
because they have some good ones every once in a while.
They have good characters.
Man of Steel was great. I'm a fan of Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. I thought Justice League was good. But they have the new.
I hated Justice League.
Well, they have the new version of it coming out, the Zack Snyder cut.
Right.
I feel like I've seen the movie because they've had so many trailers.
Yeah.
They've had enough trailers. You stitch them all together. It's longer than what the movie's going to be. But you get to see evil Superman in the black suit.
Yeah.
The guy, Darkseid or whatever. That
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, but
that's the thing. Like, if something happens in Marvel, I want to know more. And just like you, when the things in DC, it's like Darkseid. Okay, it's a bad guy. Who cares?
Right. Yeah.
But you mentioned Thanos, and I get goosebumps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know what it is.
No, I remember. It's like I watched. The movies don't have any staying power. Well, not with me anyway. I watched the Aquaman. And I liked it.
Good.
I liked it at the theater. Yeah. Watched it a second time. I couldn't get through it. I couldn't watch it a second time.
Yeah.
Now I could watch Captain America: Civil War over and over and over and over and over again. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Line it up. Start it over again. Rewind the tape. Let's go. Yeah. I can watch even Captain Marvel. I mean, people have been bitching about Captain Marvel.
What's wrong with Captain Marvel?
I don't know. But there was someone on the Twitter was asking, what's the worst of the Marvel movies? And it was between Thor, Dark World, and Captain Marvel. I'm like, I
Captain Marvel was pretty good.
They were both pretty good.
Yeah.
But like Justice League, I borrowed the DVD from you.
Yeah.
And we watched it, and I finally just like curled up. I'm like, God, I'm going to fall asleep because this is rotten.
See, the reason they're redoing it is because that was around the time DC was asking the same question that we're asking. Mm-hmm. Why can't they do what Marvel's doing?
Right.
And they took it back because they thought that it was going too dark, and they wanted to add humor. They thought that what Marvel had was humor. So they added a bunch of gags and stuff, which it worked with Flash. But they tried to lighten it up and make it more Avengery,
right?
And that just doesn't work in that universe. DC's always been darker than Marvel.
Yeah, it has,
and it's okay to be dark if you're gonna. But when you're going against Marvel at the same time, it just doesn't. I don't know what it is. I try to like them. Yeah. I want to watch Wonder Woman. Here's how bad it is. I want to watch Wonder Woman 84 for two reasons. One, because it's set in the 80s.
Right.
And two, because Bess and I were walking by while they were filming it in Washington, D.C.
Right.
So we have been in the place where they were filming it. Mm-hmm. In order to do that, I need to watch the first Wonder Woman, which is widely seen as one of the good D.C. movies.
I liked it.
I've only got like 20 minutes into it, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Throw in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like something Marvel. Okay, here's another one is Ant-Man.
Love
you turn
Ant-Man.
on Ant-Man.
I'm not getting off the couch.
Anywhere in this house.
Yeah.
Anywhere. Hide under your covers in the guest bedroom and turn on Ant-Man on an iPad, and you'll see people in the family just kind of popping up and watching it.
Is that Ant-Man?
Yeah. We've had stuff to do. Mm-hmm. We've had like things to take the kids to.
Yeah.
And one of them has popped on Ant-Man. It's like, well, I guess Charlie's not going to swim today.
I remember, before I knew that all the movies were in one giant series, I didn't know that they were building up, that they were crisscrossing.
Okay, so you were jumping around getting confused as hell.
Exactly. I saw the first two Iron Man movies. I knew nothing about Thor, didn't go see Thor. I knew nothing about Captain America, never read the comics. I didn't go see that. And then I saw Hulk, wasn't all that impressed with Hulk. And then we were on a plane.
Jesus.
And
I keep thinking it's going to be
I know
good.
This Mountain Dew melon stuff tastes like cough medicine.
For those of you that are just listening and not watching, I just took another drink of Mountain Dew. I'm going to do it again in 10 minutes and freak out again.
But anyway, so what was I saying?
You didn't know they were all connected.
I didn't know they were all connected.
Yeah.
So we were watching the Avengers on a plane, and I had no idea what's going on. I don't know what the blue square is and who the guy with the long black hair is and why he's doing what he's doing and how it's like they act like they know each other, but how they didn't set any of this up. I didn't know. I was lost. I was completely lost.
Yeah.
And Libby was getting so she's like, it's the Avengers. My wife is like a diehard. She loves watching comic book movies. And most women typically do not enjoy comic book movies. Yeah. You get a comic book movie, Lou's like, let's go. Yeah. So she was like completely into it. Yeah. We had me and both boys had no idea what was going on. Yeah. So she set us straight. And we came back and we went and started watching them. Yeah. And we finally got caught up on all of them. Yeah. And now we can't, it's like, every Friday night when we have movie pizza night,
it's one of those.
It's like, let's try to watch something new because we're going to watch these Marvel movies on Disney Plus so much that we're going to get sick of them. Which I don't know that that's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know
that's possible.
But the thing is with the Avengers, I mean, those heroes were like the B heroes, like the second rate. Nobody, like back in the day in comics, you're talking about Iron Man or Thor. It's like, screw that. Here's Superman. Here's Batman. Yeah. And now it's like flipped. It's like if you ask kids, Superman or Iron Man, they're going to be like, Iron Man. What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Well, I remember if you ask a dad, it's going to be Captain America.
Well, Paul Rudd was on Letterman and he was promoting Ant-Man. Yeah. And I was thinking, this is dumb. Yeah. And I know nothing about Ant-Man. Yeah. Over the years, I've really enjoyed Paul Rudd's work. Yeah. And I probably would have went just because of Paul Rudd. Yeah. But so we didn't see that either. What's funny was before Endgame came out, I went on the YouTube. Yeah. And there was a video that wraps up everything, explains everything from leading up
to me.
Yeah. And I was watching it over again to see is there something that I missed or something. Yeah. And they go into how Iron Man became Iron Man. This is how Thor became Thor, and that's Thor's brother. And this is Captain America, and he's in World War II, and this is how and this and thing and the Black Panther. And then they get to Ant-Man, and Ant-Man did this kind of thing, and they just sort of brushed him off. And then they moved on. I'm like,
he's only the guy that got them all.
He's the only guy who saved everybody.
Yeah. That's
Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Andrew's reached that age where he can watch more adultish movies.
Right. So were my boys.
So like Charlie, we're probably terrible parents, but we let him watch all the Avengers and thing. And they're all PG-13, but we're like, oh, it's okay for you to watch these things. But then there's other things, we absolutely won't let them watch. I got, when we were in for Christmas, I got Tenet on the Blu-rays. And so the kids wanted to know what I got, and I showed them, and Charlie was like, I want to see that. I'm like, buddy, everything I'd seen about it said, like the actors themselves said they didn't know what the movie was about after they filmed it.
I don't think Christopher Nolan knows what it's about. And he wrote it.
It's in B. It's like tons of violence all throughout there. I was like, Charlie, I don't know if maybe you should watch it. So I let him watch it. We watched like half of it, and I love movies that confuse you. Like some of my favorite movies are like that: Interstellar, Inception. One of my favorite movies of all time is Primer. I've talked about it before.
Primer
on here, yeah.
Is that a Nolan movie?
No. It's not a Nolan movie, but it's a movie. It was like an indie film.
I love indie films. I do.
We got it on Amazon for like $9. It's really it was made by an engineer who's turned into a filmmaker. And it's a story. I didn't know I was going to be talking about this, but I do want to talk about this.
You don't have to point.
Him and his buddy engineer wrote a science fiction story on, what it would really be like if someone actually invented a time machine.
Right.
Okay. And they kind of like how Christopher Nolan did with Batman Begins, like what would it really be like if there was actually a Batman? This was how would a time machine really work? And they went through all this intricate, this is how it works with diagrams in the movie. It was like the Matrix during part of it. Anyway, it's like a puzzle. You need to watch it. It's awesome.
Okay.
So Charlie wanted to watch Tenet. So we watched like half of it, and he was liking all the action and stuff. It's really good.
Okay.
And then there's a part on it in the middle. You've seen Inception, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the big...
I've seen all Nolan's movies except for Tenet.
Okay, so well, let's use Interstellar.
Okay.
At the end of Interstellar, you kind of figure out what's going on, like who the ghost was. It was the dad, right?
Right.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
So, you don't say spoiler alert after you spoil.
I do.
Okay.
So there's a thing like that halfway through Tenet, which is, it made me lunge forward and go, oh my God.
Right.
And Charlie was like, what? And I'm like, he's the guy. And Charlie's like, what? And he started crying because he had no idea what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And I had to pause it, and I'm trying to explain it, and I barely understand it myself. Plus, I'm not very coherent. After 26, 27 episodes, you haven't figured that out, it's hard for me to explain.
Right.
That didn't end well. While we were doing this, or we were doing something, they watched the rest of Tenet without me. Charlie watched it with Andrew. So now Andrew's dying to spoil this thing. But the side note is that both Andrew and Charlie are into Christopher Nolan now.
Right.
While I was at work or while I was away, Andrew showed Interstellar to Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie loved it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other night, last night, me and Andrew were watching the ending of Inception. So he's watching all these kind of, more adulty movies. So I was sitting down here and I see Predator is coming on. And I think I've told the story before about how my dad back in the 80s, you didn't know much about movies. You saw a 30-second trailer, you saw a rating, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know that Jesse Ventura is going to look at the camera and say, this stuff will make you a sexual tyrannosaurus.
Yeah.
So I almost said...
I just remember our old Schwarzenegger looking and go, you are one ugly mother.
Yeah. So I almost got the sentence out, Andrew, come in here and watch The Predator, before I realized,
No.
yeah.
No.
And he's going to call this guy a slack-jawed slur that was...
Yep.
Not even really okay in the 80s.
No.
Really not okay now.
Right.
So, yeah, I got to watch myself.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting what's in these movies. But they're huge in the Nolan. So they want me to watch Tenet. Andrew wants me to watch the second half of Tenet. And I'm like, buddy, it's been a month since I watched the first half. I got to watch the whole thing over. And he's like, what? You already know what happened in the first half. I was like, I don't know what happened. Yeah. I know that there's a drum going, ding, ding, ding. Ding. And there's a bunch of guys with guns shooting. And then it goes ding, 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 ding. And me and Charlie both went, oh my God. And then that's all I remember.
That's all you remember.
So
okay.
I don't know. I got to watch all again.
Well, my friend Carrie, who I work with, she and I are movie pals.
Okay.
And I loaned her Memento.
Oh,
she had never seen
Memento.
Memento.
Another Nolan. Yeah.
And it was his first big one. I'm still just so that he didn't win the Academy Award for Best Original Screen. No,
who won it?
I don't remember.
Who cares?
It's somebody else.
Yeah.
Some undeserving jerk.
Probably Adam Sandler.
No, you know what? Despite what all the critics say, Adam Sandler has never won an Academy Award. But yeah, I loaned her Memento, and she sends me an email the other day. She's like, I finally watched, because I forgot I loaned it to her. I loaned it to her like a year ago, and then the world stopped.
Yeah.
And everybody was working from home and doing this and that and everything else. And she's like, I forgot that I even had it. And she watches it with her husband, and she calls me or texts me, and she goes, oh my God. She absolutely loved it. Mind blown. Oh, yeah. Everything on. And for anyone who has never seen Memento,
oh Lord.
Oh man. It's if you're going to watch any Christopher Nolan movies, you should. It's not like they tell a sequential story, but you should watch Memento, and that really just builds the taste in your mouth for what else he has to offer.
Yeah, so this is not a spoiler, but it's told backwards. Like you see the ending.
Half of it's backwards
and half of it's forward.
Half of it's backwards in black and white, and then the stuff that goes forward is the color part.
Right.
And then it meets up in the middle.
It meets up,
and you go, oh my God.
Yeah. There's an option, or there's a special feature on the DVD. You have to answer all these questions the right way, and it'll play it all.
Well, you don't have to. The one I saw, you just go play in sequential order.
Yeah,
but it does. It's not like it's
mine's
re-edited.
not like that.
It's not re-edited. It
just skips.
It skips, and it's annoying.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't enjoy watching the movie that way.
Okay.
And for anybody who has never seen it, I do not recommend watching it that way.
Yeah, not the first time, because then it's going to be.
It's
not even. It's going to be.
It loses the romance, loses the thrill. So, well, a big fan of our show is Steve Farrell. He's listened. I believe he's listened to every episode, and he sent us a video that I actually put on our Facebook page.
Is that
today?
Is he the one that sent that?
He says, "Here's something y'all can talk about on your podcast." It's a woman.
Yeah.
And the video says, this woman loves horses so much, she learned how to do this. This woman's running on all fours, ass up in the air, running on all fours. And and I can't take my eyes off of it. Yeah. I've watched this video over and over and over again. And as an editor, the thing that bugged me was like, all right, guys, how many times can you show her jumping over the picnic table, over the picnic table, over the picnic table, over the picnic table?
Yeah.
So I strongly recommend go to our Facebook page, irritabledadsyndrome.com, and the video is posted. It's been there. Well, by the time this episode drops, the video will have been there for like a week. Yeah. But it's really brilliant. Steve, thank you so much for sending us that video.
Should I tell the Boy Scouts hookers and Jack Daniels story? This one's really quick.
You've got to a story that starts with Boy Scouts, hookers, and Jack Daniels. Yes, you've got to tell this story.
The title of the story does not do the story does not do the title justice, but I'll go ahead and tell it.
Okay.
I was in the Boy Scouts. We had a cop. Now remember, I'm in Peeville, so this was a Peeville cop.
Proctor, Vegas.
And I remember the bridge I told you about that the town shut down.
They closed the town so people could walk across it.
Okay, that's the bridge I'm talking about in this story.
It's not like you're Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
It's not the Golden Gate.
Yeah.
It's the Proctorville
The difference
bridge.
in dialect across the bridge is about the same as Sydney to everywhere else. But so we had a cop in there, and I don't know if you may not believe this, but I was a little rambunctious as a child. From time to time.
No.
And I was going to try to be funny. I was trying to be funny.
Okay.
I want to make sure that everybody understands that, because the cop clearly didn't. We have a moment. He's showing everybody his gun. He's showing all the little kids in there his gun. No, he didn't accidentally shoot a kid or himself, but I've seen videos where that's happened. I'm like, that totally could have happened in our troop. But anyway, we get to ask him questions. Okay, so I'm like, I'm going to be hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm like, would you arrest me if I were speeding through Proctorville and then I got across the bridge? Like, how far could I go? What about this? I'm speeding in a car full of hookers. I've said this as a kid.
How old are you?
Well, how old are our kids? I was about that age.
Well, my kids, one's 16 and one's 12. So
12 or 13.
You were 12 and asked a cop.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a car full of hookers.
I'm sorry, a police officer.
They're hanging out of the car with bottles of Jack Daniels, screaming, and I barrel past you. Car's on fire.
Uh-huh.
And I go across the bridge to Huntington, West Virginia. I'm in a different state. Okay. I'm expecting that he's just going to either bust out laughing or tell me it's inappropriate. Those are the only two legitimate reactions to that kind of question.
Right.
He just stared at me for a second, much like you're staring at me now.
Yeah.
And he said, well, I tell you what, you may outrun me, but you ain't going to outrun my two-way. Now, this begs the question.
What the hell's a two-way?
This begs multiple questions. One is, what the hell is wrong with you? You're having a conversation with this punk kid that just asked you this clearly planted question that was just there to make his friends giggle. Now you're in a conversation with this kid. You already lost.
Right.
Two, what are you talking about two-way? So all that came out of my little kid mouth as, what? And he said, that's right, sure. And he pulled his radio. He was talking about his radio.
Right.
And he pulled it out. And he's like, one call on this, and it ain't gonna matter what you done or how far you run. We gonna get you. I'm like, man, you
doesn't matter what you done or how far you run.
Now, if I were my age now, I would have said, you
he went home and he's like,
you cannot look like you look and sound like you sound and not have a sense of humor.
I just put the fear of God.
Yeah, I told that kid.
I told him, by God.
He's probably one of them damn, whatever.
Yeah.
And my dad was a scoutmaster, by the way, and he heard the question.
Nice.
Glare. Just a glare. He never mentioned it. We never talked about it. It was never a thing. He never said anything.
God, it's like, for all the police officers out there, thank you for what you do. Thank you for putting your lives on the line every day. Seriously, thank you. And I understand that when you're running into, punks, there's Scared Straight.
Little that are going to have a podcast in 30 years.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, so when I was in high school, we went to the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay.
And after the Rocky Horror Picture Show was over, my buddy says, there's a party going on at there's the Sheraton Hotel across the street from the Reel to Reel 4 theaters. There's a party going over there. I was invited. I thought we would check it out. And we're like, okay. So we went to the party on the 5th floor, whatever, of the Sheraton Hotel. Open the door. You cannot see across the room from all the pot smoke. Okay?
Yeah.
A lot of pot smoke. Now, at the time, I didn't drink and I didn't smoke pot. I still don't smoke pot. And I told my buddy, I said, we shouldn't be here. Yeah. And he says, I think you're right. This seems bad. Yeah. So we leave. Yeah. Okay. We get on the down elevator. Okay. And we got down to the lobby. It only
went down. It's like once you went down, you had to use the stairs again.
There were 2 elevators.
Okay.
We went on the one that was actually going down. We went down, got to the lobby, opened the door. There's 4 police cars out there. Yeah. And they've already started calling parents. Oh. We recognized some parents.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not good.
And we were getting ready to leave and we're like, oh, Nathan's like, my buddy. Yeah. He says, we should probably tell people that, and he also he's like, oh crap, he left something in the room. Yeah. Not his bong. He left his wallet or he left something in the room. So we went back up to get it. Yeah. We go up the elevator. Okay. And it turns out that as we were going down, there were police officers going up. We get out of the elevator.
This is like an episode of Three's Company.
Exactly.
It's like,
we get out of the elevator and these 2 police officers look, where are you going, boys?
Oh.
And I froze. I froze. I could not think of a thing to say. And Nathan said, my buddy Keith is at a party and he's too drunk to drive and he was afraid to call his mom.
Holy
and
Lord.
He asked if I could come and pick him up and drive him home.
Oh my God.
And I wanted so bad to look at him and go, damn, yeah, good answer. And so the police officer says, what room, son? Oh. And Nathan said, we were supposed to wait in the lobby. Oh. They haven't come down.
Wow.
So we've been going and listening. We're listening basically for a party.
Yeah. Damn.
And the cop says, I need to see some ID. And we showed him the ID. Yeah. And the cop takes my ID. Yeah. And he looks at the ID, looks at me. ID, looks at me. Yeah. Looks at the ID, he looks at me. Yeah. ID, me. ID, me. And then he puts it down and he does that dramatic pause. He goes, I know you from somewhere. And I said, no, sir, I really don't think you do. Yeah. I've never had a speeding ticket, sir. Yeah. I do not believe you know me.
Except that time I was transporting hookers over the bridge.
In Proctorville. And he says, you boys better go home.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
And we left.
Yeah.
And as we were walking out, all these other parents of kids that we know are like, where are you going? We're going home.
That's exactly where we're going.
Good night.
Yeah.
And you know what? I went home and I told my mom the story. I said, we were at a party and there was all the smoke and we tried to leave. And I said, just letting you know. And she goes, okay. And she was good. But this cop, man, he was just like, he scared the crap out of me.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I've learned my lesson. I didn't do anything, but I had learned my lesson.
So I got to call this out.
Okay.
Hey you. Let me see here. Oh no, it's Wacky Arm Flail. Hey you and Chris. I'm gonna give. I
bet you Chris Hughes knows some people who was at that party.
I got to give Wacky Arm Flail the credit because I see it looks like the idea came from him, and this is genius. So we got to do this.
Okay.
They're talking about the crossover episode with Textual Tension.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have them on our show too.
Yeah, we're gonna be on their show. They're gonna be on our show.
When they're on our show, we need to pipe Chris Hughes in to read Penthouse Forum letters.
No. No, and mainly because I don't want to give Chris any attention. I was going to tell this one last thing before because we're about time to wrap up. This episode's been flown by. I've been working from home for almost a year.
Yeah,
and because I don't know if you remember, but there was a pandemic. Well, there is a pandemic. The whole world shut down, and lots of people have been working from home. Lots of places shut down. Well, one thing that I really haven't missed is the sleepovers. I have not missed my kids having friends come and sleep over. Now, I've said this to you and your lovely wife Bess 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Your son Andrew has an open door welcome. He can come over anytime. He never starts any problems, never gets rambunctious, never knocks anything over.
Yeah.
He doesn't eat all of our butter. He's a good kid, and he's welcome over any single time.
Yeah.
We've got some kids who've been to the house that have not been invited back. And but we had a birthday party, and my oldest son Jacob had like 5 of his friends stay over.
Okay.
And it was toward the end of the night, and we're winding down.
Yeah.
And we're watching one of the Jurassic Park movies.
Yep.
And he's got one friend who God love him, he cannot stop talking. And we're watching Jurassic Park 2, and he's like, did he die? Is he dead? Is he going to die? What happens next? Is he going to die? Is he dead? Did he die? This other kid was losing his mind. Would you shut up? So this one kid won't stop talking. The other kid's losing his mind.
Yeah.
And they're rah, 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 rah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I paused the movie, and then the kids get mad at me because I've paused the movie. I'm like, guys,
how dare
no
you?
one can hear the movie because you guys won't stop talking.
Yeah.
So it started up again. Did he die? Is he dead? Libby has gone to bed. She's like, tag, you're it, And so then I turn the subtitles on, and the kids get mad at me because they don't want to see the words over the dinosaurs. I'm like, guys, no one can hear.
Yeah.
No one could hear because you won't stop talking.
Yeah.
So that was like one night.
Yeah.
But there was a night a day when Cameron had a party.
Yeah.
Cameron's my youngest one.
Yeah.
And we were all out in the backyard, and it's May. And when we have a lot of kids over, we have the backyard shower.
Okay.
It's like they're covered in sunblock and bug spray and sweat and grass because they're out there having a water balloon fight and this and that, whatever else. So we line all the kids up, and usually we have 3 or 4 adults. Have you been part of one of the backyard?
I think I have.
Yeah, we line all the parents up, and I usually hose the kid down.
Yeah.
Another parent will shampoo their hair, and another, will squirt the soap in their hands, and kids get their pits and behind the legs and whatever.
Yeah.
And then you hose them off at the end.
Yeah.
The 5th parent line hands them the towel, says, go in and put on your clothes, right?
Yeah.
So we're having this backyard shower. It's like, so there's this little kid there.
Oh, no. I see where this is going.
And you know me, I'm an idiot. Yeah. I tell this kid, I said, this is how people shower in prison. And I said, then I made it worse. I said, you ever been to prison, Billy? And he says, my dad's in prison.
Oh, no. No.
And I looked at Libby. I'm like,
no.
I'm like,
where do you go now?
What do I do now?
Go. She's probably looking at you like, go for it, funny man.
She says, you want some cake? Kid says, yeah, okay. We never mentioned again. He's never been back at the house.
No. Oh,
we've never seen him again.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
I learned my lesson with that one.
Oh Lord.
Oh God. Well, listen, guys, this has been our 27th episode.
And this has been our most famous, most popular month, February.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you. Tell your people.
Yeah, you know what?
I feel like I'm talking to a tribe elder. Go tell your people of our episode.
We keep growing. We keep getting.
I keep thinking the bottom's going to fall out.
We're not growing by leaps and bounds, but we keep getting more popular.
It's like a steady growth.
Yeah.
And I personally know people who have stopped listening to us.
I talked to my buddy Bill the other day, and he says, "You guys remind me of Bob and Tom." I'm like, "Well, thanks a lot." I said, "Did you? What was the last episode you heard?" "Oh, I just listened to your first one." I'm like, that was flipping 26 episodes ago.
Yeah, I'll reference the podcast to Bess. And she'd be like, "Oh, you should put that on the podcast." Like, "Oh, it's episode 13." Thank you.
My wife, she feels bad because she's, she hasn't heard. She's about 11 episodes behind.
Yeah,
maybe 12.
Don't feel bad.
Yeah. At least she feels bad, but she does. She listens.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, it does. It's nice that the thing just continues to keep growing.
Yeah.
Because people are going to get sick of listening I have podcasts that I love to listen to, and I don't listen to them for like a year straight. Don't do that
with ours.
I don't recommend doing that with ours.
No.
Because you'll lose the
die a
plot line.
slow, painful
You'll
death.
know
if
what's
you do
going
that.
on.
Your friends won't come to your funeral.
That's right.
Yeah.
It'll be like something
Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
So anyway, the point is, thank you all very, very much.
Thank you. And if you enjoy the show, give us a review. Spread the word. Tell your friends.
Do this if you're listening, or and we got some people on Twitch right now. There's a lot of really cool things that we can do with Twitch once we become affiliates.
Right.
And with this episode, maybe the next one, we will have reached the streaming hours that we need.
Mm-hmm.
We always have the average audience. The only thing we don't have are the followers. We need 50 followers.
Right.
I think we have 10 now. So we're getting like a follower every couple of weeks on there. It's not a huge thing. We're crew.
Like a cross-country hitchhike trip.
Yeah, we've got our crew that comes to just about every episode. Chris Hughes, the Wacky Arm Flail, the Stump Woodleys.
Yep.
The
Thank you guys.
56. All them. They show up, regularly. Thank you very much. I think they're all following us on there. But once we get up to 50 followers, we hit that affiliate thing, and then we can start to do just like fun things on the Twitches.
Yeah.
And give them some cool little emojis, which Chris is just going to fill up our chat with the emojis.
He just wants attention.
But yeah,
ever since we banned him, it just made it worse.
I'm kind of excited about doing something like that.
I am too.
If you do just listen, that's great. I mean, that's what this is here for.
Right.
But also check us out on the Twitch. You get to see
you get to see my lazy eye trick.
Yeah, you get to see the Mountain Dew, the weird Mountain Dew.
This stuff tastes like
you
medicine.
Get to see me.
This is nasty.
I'm
sorry, Mountain Dew, but this is crap.
You know what? I love the fact that the watermelon. Why does he have an army helmet on?
I don't know, because it's charged.
Major Melon.
Major Melon.
And he's fighting Cthulhu melons.
God.
On the
you know
side.
what? I didn't even realize that was.
Look at those.
That's disgusting.
Hold on, I gotta, because I can't see what I'm doing here.
Right.
Look at these.
All this will be edited out.
It's
by
like
the way.
Lovecraft country. There, I don't know if you guys watch that show, but that's
Lovecraft.
Yeah, you don't want to watch that.
I've watched World of Lovecraft.
Okay, that's the Brazzers version that you shouldn't be watching.
That draws the line right there.
Draws the line.
But yeah, guys, share the word, spread the word, tell people about our show, and again, thank you so much for listening. This has been Irritable Dad Syndrome.
The opinions expressed by the host of Irritable Dad Syndrome do not represent those of employees from any streaming service who airs this podcast. Tillamook Cheese, Bone-Sucking Mustard, Monster Energy Drink, Kellogg's Cereal, Zero Candy Bar, and the Kroger Corporation are not official sponsors of this podcast and will deny so vehemently in a court of law if necessary. The wives of Mike and Darin would also like you to know that they do not condone any of the childish behavior that occurs on this weekly dumpster fire pathetic excuse for a podcast. The quack you hear whenever Mike and Darin curse is only a sound effect. No ducks are harmed in the production of this three-ring circus, so calm down, everybody. It's just a podcast. Ain't nobody getting rich off this thing. Hell, they still haven't paid me for my work on the first episode. Oh, and another thing. Stop sending us letters asking for medical advice. You can find all the information you need about irritable bowel syndrome somewhere else on the internet. Thanks for listening.